record. Here we go. This one goes out to all the little bros out there. Y'all be safe, man. Might not be my blood, but you my little bro. Care about you, so I really gotta let you know. The streets foul, man, gotta reap what you sow. There's grown men out here grown, I never grow. Lil' bro, might not be my blood, but you my little bro. Care about you, so I really gotta let you know. The streets foul, man, gotta reap what you sow. There's grown men out here grown, that never grow. Lil' bro, turn on the news, another kid got shot. Hey, you. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of How to Beat the Streets podcast. I'm your host, Ramel, a.k.a. Showtime, and I got a special guest in the building with me tonight. Man, introduce yourself.
Yo, my name is Rock Logic, a.k.a. MC STIK-E, a.k.a. just Rock, you know what I'm saying? So I'm here in the building.
All right, what's going on? So, on this episode of How to Beat the Streets podcast, we're going to show you how we get it done. We start with a quote, and we're going to break down this quote, and then we're going to keep the show going. So the quote I got for you today is, consistency is one of the biggest factors to accomplishments and success. What does that mean to you?
Being consistent, you know, that's kind of a broad thing, but if I was to try to narrow it down to something very simple, it would be just repeating the same thing over and over and over again until it becomes second nature, right? Consistency, like, for instance, consistency goes two ways, by the way, right? Mm-hmm. If you can be consistent in a bad way, right? You can be consistently late to work, right? And then that becomes your character, that you are consistently late to work. It's a negative consistency, but nonetheless, that becomes you, though. Right? Versus if you're the person that goes, you know what, I'm going to get to work 30 minutes early, 15 minutes early, then you are that person. So consistency is actually the action of who you become and what you become and what you are. Because consistency is action, and action is your personality. Action's who you are. How you do things is who you are, right? So consistency means that. So if you're going to be consistent in your life, Mr. Magic used to say, persistence overcomes resistance.
Nice.
Right? And so with anything you want to do, I don't care if you want to play basketball, I don't care if you want to be on the radio, I don't care if you want to be a doctor, I don't care if you want to be a fireman, a policeman, you got to be consistent in that field or that craft and envelop yourself in it.
That's true.
Right? You got to become it.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like the spin you put on that. For me, I think consistency and success just goes hand in hand. Like, if you want to be good or great at anything, first you got to get started. Second thing, you don't stop until you make it hot, you know? And what I mean by that is, every time you do something repeatedly over and over, you only got one choice, and one option is to get better.
That is correct.
That's it. You get better with consistency. So let's keep it going. So now, right, this part, right after we get it from the quote, we go into the question of the day, man. Okay. And the question of the day is always just like something trendy that's going on in the world. And right now, it's a lot of mass shootings going on. So we had the mass shooting in the school. Rest in peace to all the people who lost their lives in that situation. And then we also had a mass shooting in Buffalo. I actually went to school in Buffalo. So big ups to Buffalo, New York, and Buffalo State. Mm-hmm. So what you think about all the mass shootings going on? Why do you think it's happening so much?
I think that they're ignoring the signs of when it's happening. Here's what I thought, and I got to tell you, it blew my mind. I didn't know that there were 19 police officers standing at the door that didn't even go to breach while this thing was happening. I didn't know that. Up until then, I was like, in order to solve the mass shooting situation, you need to have a police presence at the school. I installed defibrillators, AEDs, out in the schools in Jersey. And at every school in Jersey that I went to in specific towns, there was a police car sitting in front of the school. And when I walked up to the school, the police cars either hit their lights, they go whoop, whoop, and have me walk over, or they walk up to me, they would approach me, they go, okay, what are you doing here? What's going on? And I have to say, well, I'm in your district, and I'm going to be doing these schools in your district. And then they let all the cops in the district know the car that I was driving and what I looked like.
Security.
So if we had that type of network going on, that these mass shooters had to confront a police officer first, and I don't think that was the case in Texas. I think the police arrived and then they blew it. You know what I'm saying? But had there been a cop car in front of that school first, that kid would have had to, confront the police officer. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't even go to the school.
Yeah.
It wasn't his school. So cop goes, I see a strange kid. Hey, what's up? What are you doing, man? No. Why are you here? What are you here for? And then maybe he might have picked up on something. I think that's the best way to stop school shootings. Some people might not believe, agree with me, but I'm a dinosaur. If you can't adapt that philosophy, I think you're stupid, because these shootings are acute. They happen. There's no build up. There's no, there's going to be a shooting. No. It's instant. So the first thing you got to do is deal with the acuteness of the situation by fixing it with something acute. Right? Everything else that comes down the line, it's mental health, and the kids, there's a mental problem, and looking into the family and all. That's down the road.
It's after, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You need to fix the situation now so this doesn't happen. So that's how I feel about it, and I think it's sad, and I think that the kid is mentally ill. I think anybody that would commit a shooting is mentally ill, and they talk about they were bullied and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, listen, I got bullied, but I didn't go shoot my school up.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad that this is, it's becoming a trend, and it's happening over and over, and I think it's important that we just start to invest into mental health. I think a lot of people in the world is doing a great job of pushing mental health, but now we got to get it into the schools. We got to get it to the youth, and they need to start just understanding how their mind work, and just starting to tackle some of those issues that's going on in their head and their families. So I think that should just be a class, a program. Mental health should be a big part in every single school out here in America. And
I agree with you, as I've been in contact with some mentally ill people, right? That maybe I didn't, and you understand something, mental health comes from different spaces, right? With a lot of minority women, that some of their mental health has been affected by the fact that they have been raped at very young ages, right? 6 years old, 7 years old, 13 years old, by family members, right? By maybe brothers or cousins or uncles or fathers even, right? And then they never deal with that. And then they get into a relationship, and they're carrying all that baggage in the relationship. And then you as a man, you not understanding why she's bugging out. You sitting there going, what? Like, she's crazy. What's wrong? She's crazy. Well, she's crazy because her foundation, which was supposed to be love, right? You need two parents. You need a dad, you need a mom. There's a foundation of love that got violated, and now she don't know how to do it.
Right.
So when she gets with you, she's nutty, right? And you're sitting there going, what's wrong? What's triggering you? Why are you triggered by this? Why are you triggered by that? Now you take that, add on to the fact that maybe she might be even a little older, and then she's got the trauma of relationships that she had.
It's real. It's real. Like, past traumas is like, it's a thing, and it's happening a lot in multiple different spaces. So it's just important that everybody, if you're hearing this message, just make sure you take care of your people. If you notice that anyone is having some type of mental issues, like, be patient with people, but help people. I feel like right now, just so much judging going on. It's like, you see something, say something, and let's help all the people that have things going on mentally, because trauma is real. Past trauma, family trauma, all those things is real.
I think as black people, we didn't have the opportunity to be mentally ill, right? We were never presented with that opportunity because we came out of slavery, right? And because we came out of slavery, you know what I'm saying, we dealt with mental illness, was an ass whipping, right? That, nigga, you acting crazy? Whops, right? And you straight up and, never dealing with whatever your problem actually was. But, I think that we, as black people, didn't have the luxury of being mentally ill or even addressing the fact that we might be. If you really think about it, when you talk about the civil rights in the 50s and the 20s with the lynchings, you got to think about it, right? You had to watch your friend, family member, whoever, hang from a tree while there are white people there, you know, cutting him up and burning him. The fuck kind of trauma is that? You know what I'm saying? And no one went, you know what? We need to take this black kid or this black adult and get him a therapist because he just saw his father hanging from a tree like a fruit.
Right. I mean, I didn't even hear about the word mental health until like after I graduated college. Honestly, this wasn't a thing. This is like, that's why I'm proud of where we are today. Is like talking about it, and like a lot of the kids today that I work with, they know what it is, but. This goes back, like you're saying. Back. So it's real, man. I'm happy we had a chance to touch on that topic really quick, man. Mental health is very, very important.
Absolutely.
And that's another tool of beating the streets is understanding your mental and getting that help, because in the streets there's trauma that comes with just being from the projects or being from a certain building or a certain block. And it's like mental health is very important, and if we can tackle that, that's another tool of beating the streets. All right, now let's get into it. We got a special person here. I want you to let the people know who you are and like what you most known for out here.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a big question. But all right, so let's start from not the beginning, but now. For the most famous thing I'm known for making a record called "Shake What Your Mama Gave Ya." Shake what your mama gave ya. That's the most famous record I made for, right?
Gotta clap it up for that, man. That's a classic, man. We got a legend in the building.
And it's my voice on the record. I'm the artist on the record. Also, another record that I did that people don't realize it's me is "We're Gonna Bounce One Time to the Beat." Come on. We're gonna bounce one time to the beat. Come on.
Yeah, I was getting crazy. I'm from Harlem, so you got like, we used to get crazy to that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that anyway. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I also made that record too. So that's where it kind of starts. That's the most... It's not when it starts. That's the most famous thing I'm known for.
Nice, man.
Those things.
Salute.
Yeah.
So now the name of the show is How to Beat the Streets, right?
Yeah.
So where you from?
I'm from the Bronx. I used to live over in Soundview, 825 Morrison Avenue, which is across from Bronx River, where the Zulu Nation was formed and from. And then I moved to 181st Street and 3rd Avenue across the street from St. Barnabas Hospital. Sort of worlds of difference, by the way, but yeah.
Right, and that's, I mean, just knowing the history of the Bronx, like those are some pretty tough areas. Yeah. So in order for you to even get to a space to do music and then actually make it, pretty far musically, you had to beat the streets first in order to even get there. So when was the moment where you knew, like, I got to do something, man? Like, looking around, maybe looking at family, looking at the neighborhood. Like, when was the moment that you knew you had to do something and you had to beat the streets?
Shit, that's a loaded question. Okay, so when we lived over on Morrison and Lafayette, that was sort of like a middle-class kind of a neighborhood, but we hung out in Bronx River and those places, and even those neighborhoods at the time that we lived in, which were middle-class, were still rough. We were still rough kids. We did rough shit. I didn't know that I had to beat the streets until I was about 13. When I was about 13, we moved from Soundview over to 181st Street and 3rd Avenue. And just for clarity, I didn't grow up as a poor kid. I grew up as a rich kid, right? My father was rich, and he took a building and made a mansion out of it on 3rd Avenue, right? So I think that the moment for me was when I moved to that neighborhood, and there were people that were on food stamps and people that were poor in the neighborhood, and I became a target. You know what I'm saying? Because I was a rich kid on the block. So I was like, well, shit. Either I'm going to be a victim or the victor. Right? So at that stage of the game, I knew I had to be a part of the streets first. You know what I'm saying? I had to get into it. So I made sure I made friends with some of the toughest people on the block. And then I became a tough guy because of that. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, then I became the terror, right? I became the streets in the Bronx at the time. And then I always knew that I couldn't be there. I couldn't stay there, no matter what happened. And you understand something, during that time, we were raised by some pretty warped adults. You know what I'm saying? God bless the Chinglings and Chingling Eddie, but, I DJ'd a party for him, and he gave me a bag of cocaine and was like, either take the cocaine and go sell it, or we're going to take your music equipment. I was 14 years old.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I took the coke. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, but then I didn't make that my career. I just took that and then we bought more music equipment. But I kind of always knew that I didn't need to be in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm also was like, I need to get my people out of the streets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that it was a bad situation. So all my friends, you know, we all had summer jobs with my dad. We all was like, you know, and I kept showing them a better way. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, we can do this, we can do that. We can make money like this. And when I started DJing when I was 12, that's when I lived over on Morrison. That's when I started. And that's when I saw Bambaataa and Jazzy J DJing. But I always had a sense that I saw enough stuff in the streets. I saw my cousin who died of AIDS because he had shot heroin and got exposed to heroin and sniffing coke.
Wow.
At a young age. You know, I knew that once I was standing next to a friend of mine and some guy came running across the street and it was a 50-50 shot. The guy came running across the street and he shot my friend in the head and then just ran off. You know what I'm saying? I knew, you know, when my friend Tyrone died at 118 Park, we were at a jam and we were running out of the jam. And by the way, everything I'm telling you happened between 13 and like 16, 17 years old.
Those are like pivotal ages.
Yeah. And we were running and it was like a Labor Day weekend and he got shot, right? I was ahead of him and he gets shot in the back and he goes, "Yo, Rock, I got shot." You know what I'm saying? And I turned around. I said, "What are you talking about?" And then he just sat down like he was mad. You know what I'm saying? So I thought he was messing around. And when I went over to him and I felt his back and I felt the blood in his back that he had actually been shot. You know what I'm saying? And this is the days before cell phones.
Wow.
Right? So, you know, I'm like, somebody's got to call the police. And I'm holding him and he's bleeding out. You know what I'm saying? I think I might have been about 13 or 14. And then he just died. Like, all of a sudden you just saw his spirit left his body. And this kid, who's a kid like me, who was going to the 9th to 10th grade that summer, right, was dead. You know what I'm saying? So those are my experiences that I knew that I wasn't going to be in the street, that I was going to do better, that I knew you couldn't win in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention my friend who went to jail. You know, we had a little gang called the Magnum Force Crew. And, you know, it was to protect, a lot of it was to protect me, myself, but, you know, just our little neighborhood. And he went and he robbed a police officer, not a police officer, I'm sorry, he robbed a cab driver and he shot the cab driver. And then they're arresting him and he's like, "Yo, Little Rock," you know, and my name is in the paper as Little Rock, the leader of the Magnum Force Crew. Oh. You know, my dad's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "I don't know what he's talking about. I wasn't there." And I wasn't there. I didn't have anything to do with it. But then there was an investigation that they had to prove that I wasn't a part of this, you know, conspiracy to rob a cab driver.
That's real. So that sounds like, you know, two separate things I took from just hearing your story. One is the wise learn from others' mistakes. So like It's always important to learn from the people around you, and you don't have to go through certain things in order to learn from it. Right. Like so much people, it's like you could have 10 hustlers on the block and let's say 5 years later, you see all of them going in and out of prison. Right. Now, you don't have to be the 11th hustler. You could just look and see like, okay, I see that most of these dudes doing that and this is what happened. I'm going to try something else. Right. So one key I took from your story was the wise learn from others' mistakes. Right. And then the other one is who you're around. A lot of people don't realize, especially when you're young, like who you're around, you become who you are around. Yes. So it's like you already was in a situation that was pretty sweet, and then being around certain people kind of like made you go a different way. Right. And that happens a lot, especially in urban communities. Like I see kids all the time, even though they live in the projects, they have their father, they have a very supportive mother, and for some reason, they just turn left. And then you got kids who don't have any of those things, and then they're the ones who are normally influencing kids who actually have the right structure to do negative things. And that's one of the messages I wanted to send with this show. Just like, you got to be able to learn from others' mistakes, and then you got to watch who you're around. And if you are going to be around people who might be a little less fortunate than you, then you have to be that leader and help. And that's what it's all about. Like looking, you got to help people, you know, especially if you have certain gems. Like you might have a father who give you certain keys.
Right.
Now, I didn't grow up with a father, so I always learned from the kids who had pops because they would say certain things that was sharp. I'm only 15, and
right.
my friend would say something like, yo, you got to make sure you take care of yourself. Like,
right.
make sure your sneakers is clean. Make sure even your nails are not dirty. And we only 15. I'm like, where you get that from?
That's his
but
dad.
That was his dad talking.
Yeah.
So those things I had to learn from my friends who had, you know,
right.
pops. So now I want to ask you, like, being that you had a lot of success with the music, if you could do it all over again, financially, what would you do differently?
A whole lot of shit. I would have absolutely positively invested in the very least in real estate. I would have owned maybe a couple of buildings or a couple of homes, and that I would have had, you know, or maybe brought like some land and put like a mall on it or something, because I made that much money, you know what I'm saying, in music, that I probably could have done that. I mean, you know, I picked no bones about what I was making. At the time, I was making $16,000 a month. I was making $16,000 a month for like 6-7 years.
Ooh, I need that cha-ching sound effect. I'm getting that
you know
next.
What I'm saying? Like, so I could have done amazing things, but what happened was I never thought it was going to end. You know what I'm saying? I was a mixing engineer. I'm making money. I'm working at Sony. I'm working with some of the biggest artists in the music industry, from Stevie Wonder to Prince to Michael Jackson to, you know, and then down the line, right? And I'm thinking, this is never going to end. And then one day, the shit ended. And I had nothing to show for it. So I went broke, which was really crazy. In 2007, I'm coming off the MOP tour out of Europe, and then I'm broke, right? You know, I mean, I had the money. I had enough money, but I wasn't getting no more money. And as it depleted, because I wasn't getting the work I used to get as an engineer, and the economy also crashed in 2008, right, when everything went south and they had to bail out GM and all that. That affected the music industry too. You know what I'm saying? So I went broke, and I remember that I was like, oh, like, what am I going to do? I got 3 apartments. I got 2 cars, and one of them I got a car note on. I got kids. You know what I'm going to do? And that's when I transitioned into the medical field and became a paramedic. Because I was, you know, I was broke.
Kept it going, though.
Yeah. But I would have definitely managed my money way different than what I did. You know what I'm saying? And I still would have had money today had I had anybody around me that was even moving in that circle. Nobody in my circle was moving like that. We was all just spending money on stuff. I had the best motorcycles, the best cars, you know, the best places to live. You know, I had all that, but...
That's real. That's why I wanted to ask you that question, because I feel like financial literacy, just like we talked about mental health earlier, financial literacy is another like problem in our community.
Yes.
Because I know like a lot of people who made millions of dollars, and it's like it always seemed like somewhere down the line they lost it all, and or if they didn't lose it all, they probably could have made even more if they just had that financial literacy piece. And especially like in the music industry, I learned that you could get a deal, and the people that give you all this money never really teach you how to invest it or flip it or keep it. And I'm starting to think that that's for a reason. Yeah. You know?
Well, because, you know, that brings wealth, doesn't it? Right?
Right.
Financial literacy brings wealth. Forget being rich. It brings wealth if you understand how to manage your money. Nobody wants you to do that. You know what I'm saying? Why would they want you to do that? That don't make any sense. Had somebody said, yo, B, why don't you take your money and do this and do that? The only thing that I can say, and big shout out to Theodore Cedermeyer, who is Eminem's lawyer. He was my lawyer for a long time. Matter of fact, when he first started, he was the one that told me to start corporations. He was like, why are you taking money as yourself when you should become an S corporation and incorporate yourself? And then that made a big difference in how I was able to make money and spend money and move money and pay taxes. He was my only financial literacy guy, and that was the only advice he gave me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? If someone told me about credit and how to manage credit and all those things, I'd have been in a way different space than I am in now.
So now that leads me to just for all you know, this show is definitely, it has a lot of the big audience I have is the youth. You know, we working out of a school and things like that. So if we could take 3 key takeaways from your story, like if it was like a bullet point, like like what would be the 3 key takeaways from the rock legend?
Consistency. Whatever you want to do, find your passion, right? Find your passion. My grandfather always told me, if you love what you do, then you never work a day in your life. You find your passion, and make that your job, make that your career. We do this. This don't feel like work to me. Every day I come here, I'm playing. Mm-hmm. Every time I go to my studio, I'm playing like a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I've never worked a day in my life. Second thing, if you're in the streets, just understand that you don't have to be in the streets. You have a choice. You have a choice. And I know sometimes it feels like you can't get out. I know sometimes it feels like, you stuck in this rut with these people. You know what I'm saying? But you have to make a conscious choice to get out of that situation. And nothing stays the same. Nothing. Everything changes. The only thing consistent in life is change. So I know some of you might be out there, thinking about committing suicide and all kinds of thoughts like that. But you got to understand something. Things change and things get better. You can get out of a situation. So don't think that you're stuck, and talk to somebody, right? Because that's part of mental health.
Right.
And the third point I would say is learn how to manage your money early. Become a master of your money. Understand that when you have a job, right, you don't make money. You earn money, right, at your job. And here's the language confusion that we have in our community. A person thinks that when they go to work, I make money. No. You earn money. Right? When you're an entrepreneur, you make money. It's a big difference. An entrepreneur wakes up every morning unemployed until he figures out how to make money. You know what I'm saying? Big difference. And everyone's not built to be an entrepreneur. But if you get a job, kids, figure out how to take that money so you can make more money. Figure out how to invest in yourself or invest in your dream in what you want to do. Don't make the job your end point. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Make
the job your beginning, your stepping stone, your beginning point for, whatever you want to do for the rest of your life. Don't spend it all, save some. I don't know. I think the rule might be save 10% of your check or 15%.
Mm-hmm. Make your money make money.
Right. Make your money make money. You know what I'm saying? And don't, and words are funny to me, right? Don't say I want, right? I want money. I always want money. The word want produces that exact effect. If you always say I want something, then that means that you're always going to chase it, right? The word is I will something, right? And not even to get biblical, but if you say thy will be done, thy will, that's very important that people understand that. You will things to you, right? I will this along with the work. Right? So for money, I don't say I want money. I say I will money to me. Right? And then that produces that effect of money coming to me out of spaces that I might not even think of.
Gems, ladies and gentlemen, gems.
Right? And I'm not saying I don't work for money, but I'm just saying it's language is very important. And I think that because we don't understand language and what the words mean, we think things are arbitrary. And I'm just giving you one example.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue, they say.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue because the first thing that was ever spoken was the word. It was the word, right? The word is very important because your word, first you have the thought, then there's the word, and then there's the action.
Boom.
That's how that works. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what you speak causes an action. So you got to be careful about your words.
There you have it, man. Thank you a lot for those gems. We appreciate it. And the last segue that I normally do is, can you share with the audience? It could be a book, a song, a podcast, just something that helped you, like just stay focused, motivated, change your mentality, like something that we could take and that help somebody else.
I don't. Those couple of books. One book that was powerful for me was the 48 Laws of Power. The 48 Laws of Power was a powerful book because it was like my eyes had been opened to a world that I didn't know was around me.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize that people in power actually read this book, right? I didn't know that presidents read this book. I didn't know that reverends and preachers read this book. I didn't know that CEOs read this book. I didn't know that it was actually taught as a course, this book, 48 Laws of Power. And it opened my eyes to see how people were moving around me and manipulating me from this book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sweat, that's power number 24 he just did on me. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So if I could ever recommend a book for y'all to read, if you can pick up 48 Laws of Power and you have a job, right? I guarantee you that you'll go through the book and be like, yo, my boss did that. My boss did that. Oh, that's why this other guy moves how he moves. You know what I'm saying? So that opened up a whole nother universe for me. 48 Laws of Power.
There you have it. Make sure y'all go get that 48 Laws of Power. I'm about to get the audio book on my way home today. I need that.
Yeah, you need that. It's gonna be powerful. It'll change your world.
Right. So we want to thank you for coming to the show. Rock Logic, the legend. Thank you for what you did for the community, how you contributed to music, and what you do for the school, for the youth. Even I'll give y'all a fun fact. Rock Logic is actually the one that helped me learn how to even podcast. So I thank you for that too. What you're doing and giving back, man. We appreciate having you on the show.
Absolutely, yo. It's good to be here. I'm glad. Make sure you check out The Real Discussion with Rock Logic every Saturday on YouTube, on Boardwalk Global Media on YouTube. And we do a show that we're kind of loose. This week we have Violators, legendary Violators, Chris Lighty, God bless the dead, and his crew. They're coming on The Real Discussion at 7 o'clock this Friday. We also have a show called One Nighter, which is all about the New York City Housing Authority that we do on Sundays.
That's dope.
That we have people from NYCHA actually come on and show us their apartments, and we try to advocate for them. We have another show called Mi Gente, My People, which is also a NYCHA-based show. With that show, I was able to put a refrigerator on 99th Street and 2nd Avenue in Washington houses, so that anybody that's walking on 99th Street and 2nd Avenue, you can just walk to the refrigerator and get a meal.
Wow.
And just take it for free. You know what I'm saying? We give out 10,000 meals a week on top of that refrigerator. So
that's dope.
We paired up with Gotham Foods, and they give us meals from restaurants that, at the end of the day, they're not gonna, they're gonna throw it out. So they package up the meals, and I mean, it'd be, and I'm talking about meals from really nice spots. You know what I'm saying?
That's needed. That's
that
needed.
People get. So we do that, and that's some of the stuff that I do besides this music thing.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of How to Beat the Streets with my man Rock Logic, y'all. We out of here.
Peace. Thank you. I gotta tell you never know.
This one goes out to all little bros out there. Y'all be safe, man. Might not be my blood, but you my little bro. Care about you, so I really gotta let you know. The streets foul, man, gotta reap what you sow. There's grown men out here grown, I never grow, little bro.